Being assertive when you need to on the spot can be really challenging. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but whenever I'm in front of someone who has said a negative comment and I have to respond, I freeze. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to respond to this person until 20 minutes later when I have walked away from the situation. Then I think of what I could have said, what I should have said to that person, but it's too late. This delayed response time isn't helpful when you need to be assertive in the moment. In this video, I'm going to break it down for you. First, I'm going to talk about why it is so difficult to respond on the spot, why you get that blank mind and you can't think of anything to say. Then I'm going to share 5 strategies to help you respond better in the moment. Let's get straight into it. Why is it so hard to think of a response on the spot? Well, when you're in a challenging conversation, you get stressed, right? I get stressed and you probably get stressed as well. We're not wired for conflict, so you probably have your heart pounding, you may have rapid breathing, you may start sweating. These are all physiological symptoms of stress. It's basically the body's way of putting you in fight or flight mode because it detects danger. This is a survival mechanism that we have developed over many years over human evolution. It allows us to physically move quickly on the spot. It allows us to jump out of the way of danger or to fight if necessary. Now, what happens when your body is in fight or flight mode is all of your bodily functions go to the parts of the body that matter the most at that time to run away from danger or to fight if necessary. So all of your bodily functions go to your limbs and to your heart. Your limbs so you can run fast away from danger. Your heart beats faster and pushes blood to your limbs or to your other organs. Your pulse rate increases, your blood pressure goes up, which causes you to develop fast and shallow breathing. Your lungs open up to take in as much oxygen as possible, and your sight, your hearing, and your other senses sharpen so you can react quickly if you need to. All of these bodily functions, as I mentioned, go to the parts of the body that matter the most at that time when you are sensing danger, which means they are taken away from your brain, which is exactly where you need them for thought processing and for cognitive function. Because you don't have the resources when you need them and where you need them, i.e. your brain, it prevents you from thinking and communicating clearly on the spot, which is why you can't respond the way you want in the moment when you are in front of a challenging situation or a stressful conversation. This isn't something you really have a lot of control over. In my opinion and from my experience, it's really about getting used to difficult conversations and stressful conversations and knowing how to be assertive, what to say in the moment. So let's move on to how you can be assertive when you need to and in the moment. The first thing you need to do is to try to calm your stress response. Now, this is easier said than done, I know. But what really helps me, and the important thing that you need to remember here, is to breathe. Take a deep breath in and push all of that oxygen out of your lungs. This will immediately calm your mind and calm your body and hopefully take it out of that fight or flight response mode. It's a way of telling your brain that you are not scared, that you are in control and you are calm. You can also adopt confident body language. Now, this is a really effective strategy to use when you are in a stressful situation. I don't know if you've heard of the study done by Amy Cuddy and other professors back in 2010, but they found that when you adopt confident body language, or more specifically, high power poses for 2 minutes, it immediately makes you feel more confident and more powerful on the spot. So this is something you can absolutely put into effect if you are in a difficult conversation, you're feeling a bit stressed. Try to use confident body language or high power poses to convey confidence and trick your mind into thinking that you are confident as well. If you want to learn more about confident, powerful body language, I have a podcast episode on that, The Science of Confident Body Language for Leaders. It's episode 15 of my podcast, The Leadership Pod. I will link to that below. I also have a YouTube video on confident body language, which I will link to as well in the description below for you. Keeping calm by breathing properly and using confident body language can really help calm your mind and help you react and respond the way you want on the spot. The second thing you can do is to be prepared if you can. Now, you don't always have time to prepare for difficult or stressful conversations. Sometimes you're just caught in the moment, you're caught in that conversation, and you might have to react and think on the spot. But there are other times when you know you're going to have a difficult conversation. And for those conversations, you can prepare. For example, I recently had to have a difficult or assertive conversation with somebody, and I obviously had time to prepare for this conversation because I knew it was about to happen. So I could prepare the exact words that I was going to use. I could remind myself to breathe during the conversation because actually that is something I often forget to do. I could also practice and rehearse confident body language as I was rehearsing what I was going to say to this person. All of this really helped me come across a lot more confident when I was in that conversation, and the whole conversation was a lot more effective as a result. Sometimes you do have time to prepare. Sometimes you can work yourself up like I did in the example I just shared with you to prepare yourself mentally and physically for the conversation you're about to have. So if you do have time to prepare, make sure you use that time wisely, rehearse, practice your words, write out what you're going to say to that person. And this will really help you come across as more assertive and respond the way you want in the moment. The third thing you can do is to practice listening first. In the event you don't have time to prepare for a difficult or stressful conversation, one way you can regain your energy and decide on what you are going to say to that person is to listen to them first. Give them a chance to talk. Give them a chance to vent their anger, to tell you what's on their mind, to tell you how they feel. This will give you some time to understand the situation, and during this time, you can, in your own mind, go through some appropriate responses or how you want to respond to this person. Quite often when we're in difficult conversations, we just want to talk to the other person. We want to get our point across. The other person wants to get their point across as well. And what ends up happening is both people are just battling who is going to have the most talking space. This never ends up in a very effective or constructive conversation. When you listen to the other person first, what that does is it brings down their defense mechanism. As well as giving you time to think about what you're going to say, it helps to bring down the defense mechanism of the other person because you are giving them the space to talk. You are listening to them. They are feeling heard. They're feeling that you are interested in their opinion. You're interested in how they feel and what they think about this situation. This makes them feel important, it makes them feel heard, and naturally it brings down their defense mechanism and will hopefully make them less angry and worked up toward you. And as a result, they'll be more open to hearing what you have to say when it's time for you to talk. This is a strategy that I've used many times during conversations because, to tell you the truth, I am not somebody who likes difficult conversations. I don't think many people like difficult conversations, but I found that by listening first to the other person, just letting them talk, letting them vent, it really helps me in the conversation, and it helps me come across a lot more assertive and able to respond on the spot when I want. The fourth thing that will help you is to get your key message clear in your mind. Because of the fight or flight response that you are up against when you're in a stressful or difficult conversation, your thoughts get muddled. Your key message gets lost in the stress and the anxiety that you're feeling. So you really need to make a conscious effort to identify and understand what your key message is. This needs to be clear in your mind so it can come across clearly to the other person as well. You might tell yourself that you don't really know what your message is, or you don't have a key message to tell the other person. But what is really happening here is that because of your stress, because of the fight or flight response, or because of the fact you want to be polite to the other person, you suppress your internal thoughts, you suppress your feelings, you suppress your wants and your opinions as well. I know you have a key message inside of you. I know you have something you want to say. I know you have an opinion. You need to make sure that you don't suppress this opinion or the key message you want to communicate to the other person in the conversation. So bring it to the forefront of your thoughts, identify what it is, even if you have to write it down when preparing for the conversation, write it down so it's clear in your mind what your key message is, and make sure it comes across to that person when you're in that conversation. It also helps if you take a deep breath and think about what is it you actually feel, what is it you actually think at that time. What do you want to respond? What do you want to say to that person? Get that clear in your mind, that raw message, that honest message that you are really feeling, and say that. The fifth thing you can do is to rewrite previous conversations. This is something that has helped me immensely on my journey to becoming more assertive. What I do is I get out a piece of paper and I write down word for word, if I can remember it, previous conversations I've had with somebody, conversations that were stressful or that were difficult for me. I would write down what I said in the conversation and what the other person said in the conversation as well. On top of that, I would also write down what I wanted to say or what I should have said in that conversation. You know how when you walk away from a conversation and you think, I should have said this, I should have said that, you have a million other ideas of what you should have said or could have said to that person. This is so frustrating. This has happened so many times to me in my life, and it's probably happened to you as well. And one thing that has really helped me move through this and say what I want on the spot in the moment is to rewrite conversations I've had in the past, rewrite what I wanted to say, what I should have said to that person. And what this does is next time I'm in front of a difficult or stressful conversation, even if it's not about the same topic, it helps me react better on the spot. It helps me say exactly what I want, what I think, and what I feel in the moment. It basically retrains your brain. It gets you thinking more in your raw feelings, your thoughts, and your opinions, exactly what you felt and what you wanted to say to that person, but you didn't because you held back due to stress, you held back because you wanted to be polite, you held back because maybe you had a brain freeze and you simply didn't know what to say to that person on the spot. It basically retrains your brain, gets you to relive that moment, gets you used to having assertive conversations, and trains you to say what you want on the spot. Above all, it is a journey. Learning how to be assertive is a journey. Learning how to respond in the moment, on the spot, during difficult conversations or negative situations, it is all a journey. It is all a learning curve. If you fail, forgive yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. It takes a lot of time to learn how to be assertive and to respond to people the way you want on the spot, especially if you're coming from a more passive style of communication like I do. So forgive yourself and just try again the next time around. That is what I tell 9,000 plus students in my Assertive Communication Skills Masterclass, which I will link to below if you wanted to check it out. I will also put a discount coupon there for you. To all my loyal subscribers, thank you so much for watching this channel. If it's the first time you're watching my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, then please do by clicking the button below, and you will get videos every week to help you on your leadership journey. Check out the other videos on the screen before you leave, and I will see you again next week.